Iran's nuclear capability is not a matter of if, but when. That's the my start as far as when Iran will go to war. Okay, that's how I look at it. Now, we all know that Iran has had a 3-point power formula. How it's the foundations of Iranian power. One, it has been funding and arming a terrorist non-state network of allies. Okay, Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas, and plus the Iraqi militias and the Assad regime. Then they've developed a huge arsenal of ballistic missiles. They don't have an air force, so they've developed it. And third, they had a nuclear program. And this nuclear program is at such a stage where it can be dialed down to get them economic benefits. It can be dialed up to deliver a nuclear weapon. They're using the nuclear weapon as the you know uh, lever to get their national interest through. What is their national interest? It is to dominate the Islamic world, to be the biggest power in the Islamic world, and of course, prosperous nation, all that. Okay. Now let's see what is the state of their first story. That is, I'll take each one of them one by one and go through it. We know Hamas is in a bad shape. It's already in talks with Israel, and for some kind of a peace. I wouldn't say peace, interim peace, and we'll see where it goes. Houthis are still active, though USA has been hitting them hard. But look, Houthis have been, virtually undefeated for the past about 8 years, 9 years now. Initially, it was Saudi Arabia. Then there was the international coalition. Now, US. They're not. They might be poor, all that, but they're surviving and they're hitting back. And those Houthis are a tough lot. Let's be very clear, but they're active. But it's a question mark whether they're in control of Iran or not. But they're there. Many people feel that they are in control. Others feel they're not in control. Hezbollah has degraded, right? So all the non-state actors out. Israel's arms have been cut. Okay. Now, what about Israel itself? Sorry. Did I say Israel's arms have been cut? No. Iran's arms have been cut. I'm sorry. Now, let's talk of Iran itself. Iran is in a weakened state. We all know that. The Russia-China axis, which Iran has been developing along with North Korea to get political and diplomatic support, is not fully formed. They're not fully committed to each other. While they want to do this, but they're not, I don't know how far in the current conditions, will Russia come to help Iran? Don't know. Why? Because Russia is doing a deal with USA. Will China come with this Trump tariff and company? Very difficult. So today, Iran is virtually isolated. Does it have support in the Islamic world? Zero. It has lost its influence. It's economically weak, and I'll touch upon it a little later. It doesn't have an air defense. Major of their air defense equipment were knocked off by the Israelis. So it's lying naked. Okay, it can be hit any time. Okay. It has its missiles. So these are the ranges of these missiles. Have a look a little closer, right? It can reach complete Arab world. Like I said, Israel has no ambition of being a global player and all. Regional domination. Okay. So, like I said, someone is saying, will China come to Iran's help, I doubt. They'll not come. China has already been marginalized from this area geopolitically. It has got business interests and that's it. There are no other interests. Okay. Now let's look at the nuclear story. This is the map, the nuclear map of uh, Iran. Okay. It's got reactors at Bonab, Ramsar, and Tehran. Okay. It's got uranium mines at Parchin, and it's got Parchin is a military place where they got their arsenal, missiles, and all that. Okay, and at Sagan, Yazd, and Gachin, they have mines, and then their nuclear facilities are at Arak, Fordo, Natanz, and Bushehr, and of course Isfahan. Their main ones at Fordo and Natanz. So the crux of Iranian nuclear power lies around Fordo, Parchin, and Natanz. Fordo and Natanz have the reactors to make uranium. Parchin has the weaponized stuff. Okay, therefore, the facilities at Fordo and Natanz are basically enrichment facilities and they're underground and heavily defended. So is Parchin. Some of the Navy is also gone underground. So it's all there. Right. Now, if I talk about a little bit about what generally how much uh, enrichment it has done, and in terms of figures, the last figures which I could lay my hands on was Iran has 167.4 kg of uranium enriched up to 60%. This was about 3 months back. Figures would have gone up. And it has around 42 kg of uranium enriched. That's not the thing. The calculation is you need 42 grams of uranium, which is enriched at 60% to make a bomb. Theoretically. Theoretically, if you enrich uranium to 60%, you can make a bomb. But that bomb will be dirty. If it has 164 kg of uranium up to 60% enrichment, it can make 4 bombs because you need about 40 kg to make a bomb. It will be a weak bomb and a dirty bomb. A bomb is a bomb. It has its own ramifications. To make an atomic weapon or a nuclear weapon, you need to take it to 90%. So far, there is no intimation that it has gone to 90%. But in the past 3 months, it's been working. I expect it has already gone to that level. I expect. That's my view. Okay, because it is now actually a nuclear threshold state. It has been working over time to enrichment. It's probably a screwdriver turn away from a bomb. And what you see in the newspapers and media and analysis and journalists and all journals and all, maybe if they have worked over the past 3 months, 4 months, Iran might have about the capability to have 3 to 4 nuclear warheads. This 162 grams would have turned into 90%, and that's how it is. And they would have already had some, we don't know. So you're looking at a capability of 3 to 4 bombs. So these 3 to 4 bombs are good enough to do a lot of things. We saw while Israel and USA stopped most of the missiles which were fired from Iran. Some got through, isn't it? Some got through. Now, if they have got through, and if one of them was an atom bomb with a nuclear warhead, what will happen? Look, what do you do to Iran and all is a later day story. वो तो कहानी है, ठीक है? But after Hiroshima, Nagasaki, this will be the one. Okay. They don't fire that side. What if they fire into Gulf countries? Your complete oil trade is at risk. What if they have the capability with three nuclear warheads of closing the Gulf trade, oil trade? Saudi Arabia. You fire at four reactors. It doesn't matter if you intercept this thing on top of a not reactor, sorry, oil refinery. Even if you intercept it on top of oil refinery and set a low air burst, thank you for that oil refinery in that area around. So all your oil wells in Saudi Arabia will close, and there'll be a problem in global, energy. So that capability, I think, Iran has. If it has not had, it is just a screwdriver turn away, and they can do it. And this is where, like I said earlier, from here it can dial up into becoming a nuclear armed state, or it can dial down to get economic benefits. So that's the game of chicken which is going on at this point of time. Okay. Now, what are the implications of Iran as a nuclear power? Okay. We have to understand that. Like I said earlier, a nuclear weapon gives it the ability to control the Islamic world. After all, remember, Iran is a civilizational state. You can't just. Now, it has missiles which it can deliver a nuclear warhead because this is one of its strengths, okay, which I spoke of earlier. And then it has the political and religious and diplomatic ability to assert its power in the Persian Gulf and confront USA. Also, a lot of US forces are sitting in the Persian Gulf. Now, they are also at risk the moment Iran becomes nuclear. It can press its territorial claims. For example, it claims almost the entire Qatar gas fields. If it gets hold of that, it becomes the biggest producer of gas. Okay. And if that is blanked out, if it gets hold of Qatar, it can. The moment it becomes a nuclear state, things equations will change. Then, of course, Israel will react and there'll be a issue. In which case, US presence in that area has to increase. In all this. So, a lot of US presence in this area is to thwart Iran and protect the Gulf sheikdoms. Earlier, they used to do it against Iraq, now against Iran. Okay. And then there's a domino effect. The moment Iran gets hold of nuclear weapons, others will say, I also want to have. Saudi Arabia wants to have. Even Libya at one point of time wanted to have. Oh, South Korea will say, I'll also go nuclear. Japan will go nuclear. We'll talk of that a little later. Now, what's the problem with Iran? What is its economy like? It's at a very, bad shape. 1 riyal is equivalent to, or rather, I will say this: $1 is 1,30,000, whatever reals per US dollar. Poor shape. Inflation is going past 40%. Food prices have doubled in the recent past. Oil revenues are declining because US has put secondary sanctions on its dark trade. The covered oil experts. All dark ships. There are a lot of dark shipping in this area. And China is actively involved in this dark shipping. Now, if USA starts monitoring this and starts intercepting this dark trade, then not only Iran is in a problem, China is also in a problem. So there are other issues. Okay. Now, what are the US and Iran relationships and what are the issues? You got to go back to 2015 when Obama drew out a plan, right? The nuclear deal, which is known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, by which certain things Iran could do, not do, all that. That had not got finalized. Trump withdrew from it. Okay? He just withdrew. He said, I'm not going to deal with these fellows. 2018, he withdrew. Now he wants to go back and redo the deal. Good thing, because after 4 years, akal to aaya hai usko. कि भाई, there's no point in fighting. Let's do something. That's why I say there's been, in the past 4 years, he's put a think tank together behind him who's thinking through all this, and he's like an onion peel. He's layer by layer, he's getting everything out. I've been saying this ever since Trump has assumed office. And look, I can boast. Whatever I've said has come right. Okay. Now, Trump has said maximum pressure approach. What is this? Diplomatic solution. But without ruling out the military option. So he has given Iran a 2-month deadline. In the next 2 months, sign the deal. And he says, I'll bomb the hell out of you if you don't. Iran has said, I'll hit you back. He says, I'll target your 10 bases around there and around 50,000 US soldiers who are there. Now, he is not said, I'll target you with nuclear weapons or not. It's implicit. For all you know, that nuclear weapon might have left that place and it's lying somewhere hidden. Okay. So that's ambiguity. So you have nuclear ambiguity here. If we talk of other kinds of ambiguity, so you have nuclear ambiguity here. And nuclear ambiguity leads to deterrence. Unless, of course, USA knows exactly where that nuclear bomb is, we'll go toko them. Okay. Now the thing is, Iran is unwilling to negotiate with USA. USA wants a comprehensive dialogue on nuclear and non-nuclear issues. USA. Iran says, I will talk only nuclear with USA. Non-nuclear issues, I will not talk with you. He is not interested in direct talks. He says, I want to speak through Oman. So it brings Oman into focus. So Oman is becoming a player, which is good for us because Oman is our friend. So I'll come in the end back. Incidentally, Oman, the more I think of it, the more plausible it seems that whatever is happening in Balochistan could be bankrolled by Oman. Because part of Balochistan was owned by Oman before it was priced out of them and given to Pakistan. And this might be their way of getting it back. For all you know, people who are saying independent Balochistan and all that, it might become part of Oman, which is very good news for us. So we'll talk of that some other day. So Oman is the go-between. All this talk has not crystallized to its level because in between Trump has got too many things on his plate. Kabhi Panama, kabhi Greenland, kabhi China, kabhi Taiwan, kabhi Trump tariff, and kabhi Iran. But action is going on all fronts. I mean, you have to give it to this man who's come with a plan and is executing it. And so it's already how many months? 20th Jan he took over, 20th Jan to 20th February, 20th March, 2.5 months. And USA has been carrying out its military preparations. 2 aircraft carriers, Carl Vinson and Truman, have already gone there. They're there somewhere. B-2 stealth bombers are sitting in Diego Garcia. They've brought in air-to-air refueling because from Diego Garcia, if they have to operate, they need air-to-air refueling. Then transport aircraft has come to transport whatever they have to because heavy transport will be needed. Okay. The B-52 have done flyovers around Iran with Israel. So this indicates there will be a joint Israel-US action. And then Pakistan and Afghanistan have come into the calculation. You recently we've heard that Afghanistan, they are seeking a base back there and all that. Isn't it? USA. So why? And Pakistan को तो चाबी पूंछ मोड़ना है वो तो कड़ा हो जाएगा भैया मेरा ले लो मेरे को ये बलूची से बचा लो. I mean, Pakistan will do, so they are back. So Now USA is encircling Iran. And in this is the right time from USA's perspective, because China is at its weakest in this area. There's no influence of China. It's only trade. Russia is beholden to USA now in some manner. That equation between Russia and Iran is not as strong as it was some time back. So this is where it is. Okay. Now, is this all there is in this whole story? No. You have to get other angles, because while this is happening, there's a lot more happening in West Asia. This is just one factor in West Asia. What is happening in West Asia? If I'm giving you scenarios, if there's a jad between USA and Iran, and let's say Iran cops it, it becomes even more weak. Then you're looking at the Middle East balance going out of equation. Now, the Middle East balance or the West Asian balance is based on Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Iran, which are big states. Turkey is in a problem today. Okay. Erdogan is turning out to be a dictator of sorts. He's put his opponent in jail, and everything is iffy there. Iran, iffy. If these two fall, then Saudi Arabia will get up. Is it good, bad? We'll have to see. But US has tremendous interest in this area, and Saudi Arabia it's an anchor, and Trump especially so, because Trump has done a lot of construction there. Okay, right. Then, what is the role and status of Qatar? Will Qatar become too big? It's already too big. It keeps playing one against the other. It supports this Muslim Brotherhood, all that story which is on. And if Iran becomes weak, there's an equation which will come out. If Iran becomes strong, there's another equation which will come out. Okay. So, crucial. And Qatar is a critical player. And Qatar is the headquarters of CENTCOM. What is the future of Yemen? Up in the thing. If you want to ensure that Bab al Mandab is clear and the Red Sea routes are clear, then the Houthis have to be subdued in some manner. Who has the reach to, or rather the linkage to the Houthis? Only Iran. Houthis don't listen to anyone. If there's a way to quell the Houthis, that is through Iran. So you have to do some kind of a diplomatic deal with Iran. If you go and toco him with nuclear weapons, Houthis, whether you toco him with nuclear weapons or not, he will still do what he has to do. So you have to be clear what you want to do. The US guys have to be absolutely clear, where they're going. Because the thing with West Asia and Middle East and this thing is, you touch one, the rest of this thing will start falling. That's what we've seen. And what is the state of Syria? Syria is not in good shape. You taken out Assad and put a reformed Al Qaeda fellow, Al Shara, and there Syria continues in a state of civil war. And the last question which I'll ask is, what about Israel? If Iran is subdued completely and all these other small things are there, then the Israel thing goes up. Will there be a solution with Hamas then? So there are a lot of things up in the air, and this is something which we have to take care of. What is US dilemma? Can Iran be bombed into submission like Serbia? I doubt. So though Trump says I'll bomb, and all that, no. Trump said I'll not start a war, but by bombing Iran, he is going to start a war. It's not going to end. Will US put boots on ground? Then it sunk. Then the next question is, will Trump get sucked into a battle which he doesn't want? What's his main aim? Abhi tak we have said that his main aim still remains China. So if he gets into Iran, there's a problem. And of course, I feel that whatever he is doing with Houthis, he is giving a demonstration to Iran. Iran people must be seeing what these chaps are doing. And Iran must be thinking, if this fellow does what he is doing with Houthis to us, what will be your effect? And Iran will also have its own dilemma. If all this happens, what happens to Khamenei? Will there be a revolution in Iran? Can he negotiate a deal? Can he instigate a revolution in Iran through Israel? Does Trump have that kind of a mentality to instigate a color revolution there? So these are the issues which are there. Personally, I feel that I'm hopeful. I'll say I'm hopeful that some kind of a deal, either overt or covert deal or understanding, is worked out between Iran and USA. And all this which is happening, this tariff and all that, will help Trump negotiate. I mean, on that I don't have a doubt ever. I don't have a doubt. Okay, so something will happen where they should get to a deal. Okay, they could get to a deal with Iran still having some nuclear capability, but abiding by certain restrictions and all that. Now, what are the implications of that? Or it doesn't happen. What are the implications? We need to look at a certain number of nuclear equations. And I'm going to put that across now. 2 minutes. This map tells you the general estimated nuclear warheads around the globe. Okay, general. Add to this, one more will come with Iran. If Iran goes nuclear, it could be 3, 4, 5, it doesn't matter. So the world becomes more nuclear in nature. Now, if that happens, then you're looking at a different kind of an equation. And that equation is something like this. And this is where India comes in. Around India, you're going to have in that part of India. It's no more the nuclear triangle between China, Pakistan, and India. You're going to look at a hexagon: USA, Japan, South Korea, North Korea, Russia, and China. Okay, in that area, because they're all there. Because if this fellow goes nuclear, South Korea, there's already a movement to say we should be nuclear to ward off North Korea. And Japan also feels we should be on our own. I can't depend on the US nuclear umbrella. These are moments which are in the offing. And if this might be a domino effect, yahan nuclear ho gaya, to I'll go nuclear there also. So then you're looking at as it is as an over militarized area. And now you're going to go into a even further nuclearized. And then here on your western shore, you're going to have India, Russia, Israel, Pakistan, Iran, and China mucking around, all nuclear powers. So we are getting into a system in the Indo-Pacific, which is more militarized and more nuclear in nature. This is something we have to be aware of. Okay. And there, I'll come to this thing. What is India's role in all this? We have to be alive to 2-3 issues. One, like I said, you have to rethink first as the nuclear part. You have to rethink your nuclear doctrine. You're developing your missiles because you have other commitments. Are you modernizing your nuclear warheads? If you're modernizing your nuclear warheads, you're modernizing your missiles, everything. You need to have a new nuclear doctrine. One. Now, getting to Iran and USA. You have good equations with Iran. You have good equations with Oman, which I said earlier. You have good equations with USA. Can we step up to the occasion? We had good equations with Ukraine. We had good equations with Russia. We have not done anything. We had good equations with Israel. We had good equations with Hamas. We have done nothing. Can we do anything now? और हम ऐसे बेटर हैं एंड फिर हम बोलते हैं यार हम तो पावर बनना चाहते हैं कौन सा पावर बनना चाहते हो भाई so I think we need to do something very seriously about it and then of course we have to understand you have to develop new equations in this you know post tariff world or deglobalized world as it is emerging you got to deal with a militarized Pacific, over militarized Pacific. If you say you're an over militarized Pacific, already you have connections with Philippines, already you have military connections with Vietnam, you have military connections with Japan, and some military connections with Korea. We keep talking of what is that string of pearls and all that nonsense. Is it time to give it back to China? Is there a need for us to, through trade, this opportunity which has come, get all our neighbors together so that and tell them, look, where you stand? Is there a case for us to rethink the whole story? Events are happening. You've seen the Russia-Ukraine war, Gaza, South China Sea, whatever is happening. Our own, where China has gone back, and where now a new story is coming up. Our strategic thinking has to change. Are we thinking? I keep saying, an elephant doesn't know how strong it is. How strong the Indian elephant is, the Chinese chap knows. Are we maximizing it? A third-rate fellow like Bangladesh speaks उल्टा सीधा उसको एक झापड़ नहीं लगाया आज तक कि भैया आप बहुत है चुप रहो Why don't we give some help to Baluch people and tell Pakistan कि भाई you I mean look Musharraf famously said we only give moral support to the Kashmiri people. So let's give moral support to Baluchistan. What's wrong? Moral support. Can we use Oman? Doors are opening. Which door should India take? That's the question mark which India should answer.